Okay, so today, guys, welcome back to Undergo Jayskode. My name is Juan Carlos, your host, and today we have a very, very special guest. His name is Harshit Shah. Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I
How are you doing
appreciate it.
today?
Pretty good. Nice morning. Good morning, Saturday mornings. It's pretty good.
Okay. What do you usually do on the weekends, briefly?
I don't have any definite plan. It really depends on something comes up right away, or probably stay home, relax, try to do some Uber Eats, try to.
So you're
Yeah.
you're a workaholic.
I can say that. I mean, yeah, I do like to work, but lately I've been too lazy.
Good, though. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So Harshit Shah, tell me a little bit about where you're from, where you come from, what do you do for work, briefly.
Yeah, definitely. So I came here in 2018 and I came here in Los Angeles, I'm in California, and then I've been here for since last 4 years. So I got here just to explore and to see what I want to do in this country. But it was pretty nice coming over here. It's been 4 years, so it's a nice and amazing experience in this new country, which I never been to any other
beautiful,
country.
right?
It's a beautiful country. I agree. And after that, I joined a company. It's a pharmaceutical company for 4 years, and I was there for around 4 years, and was working on different positions during the 4 year tenure. And then I recently decided to do something in my career related. So in 2020, I started my school for master's in civil engineering, construction management.
Okay.
Yeah, and recently I applied for an internship, and luckily I was selected to get an internship, and I started my internship in my career. So I quit my job and started my internship, and it's pretty exciting. It's a
good.
construction company.
This is something that is something that you just wanted to have financial security, or just something that you were actually like into and wanted to learn more about? Or
Yeah,
what was it more of?
I think this is what I want to do.
Okay.
I mean, but it could be too early to say because I feel like every other day I feel I want to do something new. But eventually I feel like this is what I'm looking forward to be in this field, keep going up. It's going to be pretty tough what I've been learning in terms of learning, because it's a vast industry and all the people working around me have at least 15 to 20 years of experience. So yeah, they're as equivalent as of my age around.
Okay. Can you briefly tell me about what is a civil engineer?
Yeah, so civil engineering is pretty much a stream of engineering who are focused. They have different disciplines. Some who have like to focus on structural of a construction project. Some like to focus on mechanical. Some like to focus on other things. But eventually, long story short, is the civil engineers are the one who are responsible to start from design all the way till the completion of the project. So it could be like you can choose any discipline and focus on that area, and from there on you can move ahead.
You are in the construction.
Yes, I have my bachelor's in civil engineering, and then I'm now doing master's in civil engineering, but my focus gonna be construction management. So if I give you like a brief idea about how this construction management works and how does my specifically right now my company works, is that we bid for a project, we win the bid. My company basically focus just on schools and colleges around LA County, and they are the one who bid. After we win the bid, we try to hire subcontractors. We are known as general contractors, and then we direct them that what the owner of the project is looking for for the structure, how they want it to be done. And we just keep an eye on them and want to make sure that structurally, systematically, everything's going good, because subs gonna hire laborers, and laborers are pretty much gonna help us to construct, but they need a direction, and that's where we came in.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long is your internship for?
Interesting. It was supposed to be 12 weeks initially, but then I decided to go to India to see my friend's family, and it changed. It got down to 9 weeks. So hopefully after 9 weeks, I get the good news and they hire me. So I don't have to look for any other work,
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
India, let's talk a little about India. What's the culture out there for people that don't know? What is it like out
Oh, it's an amazing country. Like everyone knows, they have a rich culture.
there? Food?
Oh, food. Yeah, everyone loves food. They have delicious food. And the amazing thing is that every state has their own culture. So you go from one state to another state, right from the language to food to clothing, everything changed from one state to another state. So you can say India is a country of different states, different culture, but everyone's living together.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. It's pretty colorful country, very very friendly country, I can say. People will always welcome you for a cup of tea, even if you're a
Cup of
stranger to
tea.
cup of tea. Yeah.
They don't drink coffee over there?
I mean, they do drink, but I guess tea gets more customers than coffee.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so let's get into uh, a little bit about what's going on today
Right.
in Ukraine and Russia. But first, I'm interested in how you got into stuff like this. What got you interested in just educating yourself on what's going on in the world?
Yeah, I think honestly, if I go back, ever since my school days, I was into this stuff. Like
How old
if
were you?
I would say fifth, sixth grade. Wow. Yeah. So if all my close friends do know, I was my social science favorite student because I was sitting on the first bench and that's it. That's only for that specific subject. I love to learn about geography, civic. So we have a subject called social science, and it has three different subparts inside it, and pretty much I was always interested to know about how does the whole history and how does all those work. But coming forward, recently there has been a channel I do follow on YouTube. It's in my language, so I unfortunately can't recommend because it's totally in my language. They have not even subtitles, which I can. And it's pretty amazing. And that thing got me more into this because they have different shows about history, about current affairs, political affairs, world affairs. And I'm keep watching those videos like on a loop. They have so many videos. So that thing got me right into that. That's I can say that's heaven for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good for you. That's good for you. So educators, what's going on? Where can we start as far as NATO, Ukraine war?
Yeah.
Where can we start? You go ahead.
So let me take a brief step back and let's try to discuss a little bit of how does this whole thing came up to this point. Like it has a brief history, but it's very interesting history. Like it did not happen overnight where Russia decided to get into the Ukraine and start doing what they are doing right now. So going back a little back, so World War One was started in July 1914 till November 1918, and the winner was Central Power. It was between Central Power and Alliance. That's the name of two groups. So Central Power won, who were Germany, Austria, Hungary, and the Alliance group were France, Great Britain, Russia, and US joined that group later down the years.
Okay.
But unfortunately or fortunately, Central Power won the war. After that, World War II started in September 1939 all the way to September 1945. That's a long period. That's almost six years of
Yeah.
6 years of war, and it was again between two, the Alliance and the Axis powers. So Alliance had a country, France, UK, US, Soviet Union, and China, which kind of were not really into the war, but China was a part of the group. When Axis power,
Sorry about that.
no worries. Axis power has the Germany, Italy, and Japan. So all these countries were a part of the Axis powers, and again the winner was Alliance, the group Alliance, which is pretty much France, UK, and USA. And I think that's how the whole thing started from specific that point where US started becoming more superpower in the world, and all of the countries were pretty much start supporting US because US, we all know, has great military, great weapons. They always has that thing on the advantage on their side. So pretty much that's how the World War II ended. And I read somewhere from one of the expert, and it says a very good saying. It says that end of one war set the stage for another one. So that was really interesting to me.
Who said that?
I could not remember exactly, but it was one of the defense expert who shared that, and I really feel that's true.
Okay.
That end of one war sets the stage for another one. So it is true. This whole thing, the Ukraine-Russia thing, started, I would say, all the way back from World War II. So going back to the topic, so in 1949, the NATO, a group NATO was formed, which stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a group of few countries. And it was an alliance formed against the Soviet Union. So going back, Soviet Union was Russia and few more countries before it got dismantled.
Okay.
But before that, it was a group of, I believe, 18 countries, including Russia. But after, will come on that part, but after that dismantle, Russia is now on its own, and all other countries are kind of independent, I can say. So NATO was formed in 1949 against Soviet Union, the whole group. So NATO decided, let's
go to war.
Pretty much I can say that. They decided, okay, you know what, we need to have a group of countries against Soviet Union if something happens again after like World War III. And this is, we're talking between 1945 till 1990. This is the long period of time where every country wants to make sure that they are making their territory safe, because they don't want another war or someone coming in.
Right.
So originally there were 12 members in NATO, which gradually increased to 30. So today's 30 countries are part of NATO.
Okay.
And they have a saying, and which is very interesting. It says, if one gets attacked, all members will respond together. So they have kind of unsaid motto: if one of those 30 countries get attacked, all 29 remaining countries will send their military on a specific country, and whoever will be the other side of the war, they're gonna be all out on that specific country or organization. So that's what the NATO does.
Okay.
And US is one of the big player in the NATO. I won't say the biggest, but one of the big, because if US is not there, I don't think NATO is going to be anymore, because European Union won't able to survive on its own.
Right.
So, and let's go a little bit of how this whole NATO situation formed the situation which we saw a few months back. It's very interesting to see, and this is all the notes I kept from my watching my videos, reading the articles. I like to know, but this is really interesting. So Germany was given to NATO. So Germany was initially East Germany and West Germany, and they had a wall between them.
Between each other.
Yeah, and they were not together.
Okay.
So after that, they have a whole another history. The whole wall was down, and Germany was unified,
Right.
and Germany became Germany.
Yeah.
It wasn't East and West Germany anymore.
Okay.
So Germany was given as an negotiation to the NATO countries, with saying that, okay, you guys can have the Germany on your group, and we won't mind it. This was said by Soviet Union. Okay, you can have the Germany, and we won't be against that specific decision. And it says, it's been said in a report that there was a verbal agreement between US President, who was George H.W., and Soviet Union President Mikhail, who decided, you guys can have the Germany, and we won't have any issues with that. But that was just a verbal. There is nothing written.
Nothing on paper.
And that was one of the big mistake, I believe, was done, that no one has any proof to say that, oh, was it really true, or which president is lying.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure, but I think both the presidents are not alive today. So I'm not sure. Mikhail, I'm for sure he's no more here, but I'm not sure about H.W. George. So that was one of the bad. And then NATO invited, after the agreement, NATO invited Germany to join the group.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to say, Soviet Union become kind of uneasy, and then have their own group like NATO's. Their name was Warsaw Pact.
Say it one more time.
Warsaw It's WARSAW, Warsaw Pact.
Okay. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, they have another group which is says Warsaw Pact, and it has Russia, Albania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, East Germany. All these countries were part against NATO's country, so they all were like against each other. I can say Team A versus Team B. The stage was set all the time,
Yeah.
And then Russia always says that NATO is not just the group of countries who just want to do some business. They are there for a defense purpose, and it's true. Russia always has an opinion, and it's always had that disagreement with NATO. So many decision which can be true, because it always says that it's a defense alliance. Russia always has that thing. And then coming back 1989, the Soviet Union disintegrated. East and West Germany combined by breaking down the Berlin Wall. So from here point 1989, things start changing a lot. Now Russia is on its own. It has no more Soviet Union countries with them. Every country got kind of independence.
Do you know why it broke, or
Like you mean the
alliance of?
Oh yeah, I think it's because they were not able to survive the economy because of the war. After World War II, U.S. and all these alliance were doing pretty good. They got the industry set up. They did their economy was so good. But on the other hand, Russia was suffering because they have so much of area cover as of Russia itself, plus I think 8, 9, or 12 countries. So it was becoming so hard for them to maintain the economy. People were going out of the jobs. They were not getting the money. There was so many other natural reasons and man-made. So the thing was not anymore. And then Warsaw leader Mikhail, which I mentioned earlier, was ready to unify the Germany when this whole thing was happened. But he was saying that you guys can break down the wall, unified East and West Germany, but don't go into NATO. Don't join the NATO. It's not what we are looking for. But NATO countries were pretty much in a commanding position. I guess they were in the driving seat, so they were able to get Germany in the NATO, and which I believe start making the relationship goes little bad between Russia and NATO's. They were already against that, and this was, I can say, first point where Russia was like, okay, now this is now we wanted, but you guys did it. So now I was expecting, even if I'm at this spot, I'm gonna do something in response to make sure that they will never do this again. So, and very interesting that NATO has an open door policy. They can have all the countries who want to join unless and until they satisfy the requirements, and the requirements are pretty high. So
What are they? Do you know?
some of them I do know is like they need to have certain military. They need to have no conflict of border with your neighboring country. So suppose India and Pakistan right now cannot go into NATO for two reasons. One, they both have the border issue.
Right.
Pakistan is pretty much occupied the India's territory illegally, and if Pakistan want to go, they can't go because it has a kind of conflict with India. And same with India. India cannot go because then is Pakistan gonna have the same reasons too. Right. So something like that's one of the criteria. Another have their economic criteria and all those things. But this is the one focused area where they want no one, because the reason is very simple. If they're gonna get involved such countries, they're gonna be in the war again and again, because as I mentioned earlier, if one gets attacked, everyone will be there. So they don't want to do all those things all the time. Exactly. So that's one. So they have the open door policy. Okay. And coming back in 2004, all the way from 1989 to 2004, 7 countries joined NATO. And that was a big number of countries joining NATO. And interesting is that all 7 countries are around Russia. They all were the kind of neighbors of Russia who decided to join, and some of them were being asked to join. So Russia was already getting uneasy over there.
That's not good for Russia.
Yeah, the Russia was like, I think Putin was still kind of like a kid over here. He was getting into the politics, but I believe, I might be wrong, he was already the president of Russia. So he already knew that don't do this. I think he was president already. Don't do this. You guys are getting so many countries inside. Let's just stop the thing. You guys have your own countries, 12 countries, and we can live on our own. Let's enjoy the peace in the world. But NATO was like, no, they don't want to sit idle, they want some drama in the world all the time. So that was interesting to see. And in 2008, Georgia and Ukraine got an open door again to join the NATO. So right after 1 year, after getting 7 countries in the 12 countries, 12 plus 7, 19 countries, now NATO has invited Ukraine and Georgia to come and join the NATO.
What year?
2008.
Okay.
So that's where Russia was like, hang on.
Yeah. No.
You guys won't be doing that. We did not do anything with 7 countries. Now you guys are coming near and near our border. So let's make it very simple. If something happens, say all these countries join around Russia, if Russia attacks or do something with one of those NATO countries, the whole war is done. The whole world will be gone. There will be no humanity, because all the countries will be all countries by that, and all the NATO countries will be in the war, and those countries have a big militaries. So, and Russia have a big military too, and eventually everyone's gonna affect it.
Yeah.
One of the stupid country gonna come up and gonna be throw the nuclear bomb or something like that, and it's gonna extend, like everything will be gone from the world.
I wanted to touch a little bit about the nuclear threats.
Oh, okay.
But we could touch about that later.
Yeah, definitely. And then from 2008 to 2010, there was a pro-American president was replaced. So now in 2010, I'm talking about Ukraine. Okay. So Ukraine, this whole time, Ukraine is on its own, but they have the either pro-American or pro-Russian president who rules the country.
Yeah.
2010, a pro-American, I think his name is Carl Gersban, I might be wrong at pronunciation, replaced by a pro-Russian president. So there was like a change in the resume. They have a long history behind that too. All the undercover agents and all those mission was been done to replace the American supported president with a Russian supported president. And then in 2013, the pro-Russian president, whose name is Viktor was replaced a very major economic deal from European Union. So when after he became the president of Ukraine, after 3 years, they were supposed to have a big deal with European Union.
Okay.
Ukraine's gonna have an economic deal, which he canceled at the last moment, and he went directly to Russia to help them to finish the deal. And this is what Russia was looking for. You cancel the deal, you come with us, because I was the one to give you the presidentship. You need to come to us. And that's what he did. And that was around $15 billion of deal, which is a big money for Ukraine, considering it's a really small country.
Yeah.
So now the things are getting heated. Now it's 2013. We are talking like 9 years back.
Okay.
And now that in February 2014, a coup took place. Military tried to take over the president power in Ukraine. And that's where, reminding you again, in 2013, it was Russian-supported president sitting as a president. Right after a year, it's been said, I've read so many articles, it was America sponsored and supported strategy to get the president down and get the military in the power, so US can go and help the Ukraine for not falling into the Russians' hand. Right within a year, this all was happening. And this is where I feel like Russia was like, enough. I am done here. Now you guys need to learn a lesson. So they snatched Crimea. That was a part of Russia. I would say it's a part of Ukraine and Russia. It's Crimea.
I believe that Crimea is part of the, I don't know, I can't really pronounce it, but it's called Lunar or something like that.
Yeah, I
Lunar
think-
region. It's part of the lunar region.
Yeah, correct. I think I do remember something like
Yeah.
that. So that's where Russia snatched that thing. I mean, by snatch, I mean that they throw their military in.
Right.
They took over the whole control of the Crimea region. And ever since that, the whole world was crazy upset with Russia. You guys cannot do this in a civilized world. You cannot just go. We are not in 1950s or 60s. You just randomly walk in and get the whole country. So this is where Russia was like, you guys are testing our patience. Every time you want to join more and more members in, we are asking you not to do that. But you guys still want to do that. Okay, here's the response. Crimea is with us. I think it's still today. Crimea has been controlled by Russia. No one was able to get it back from Russia because I think there are numerous reports. Russia has second biggest military in the world. So
Really?
yeah, I think it's always a race between America and Russia, who has a big military. But America is more advanced military compared to Russia. So Russia, no one wants to go on a war with the world number 2 military, expecting you're gonna pretty much lose against them, and you're gonna lose tons of humans just in the war, you know.
Plus, I mean, what sort of weapons do they have in Russia?
I
Bunch of
think
1960s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s.
right, they have a pretty old inventory. They need to come up with something new. But recently they did came up with few amazing weapons. I don't remember the name, but that's not enough. I believe when you talk about Russia and against NATO countries, that's nothing because you need to keep upgrading your inventory. I mean, say every 10 to 12 years, and I think they're not able to do that. So yeah, it's pretty bad for them. But I mean, hey,
Yeah.
we have nothing to do with that, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So coming back after they snatch the Crimea from the Ukraine, that's where I think there is another group in the world called G8, which is a part of 8 biggest economy in the world, which is Russia, America, France, Britain, Italy, Australia, and I'm forgetting 2 more names. So the all country decided we're gonna kick Russia out of this group. You snatch the Crimea and you're not giving back. It's not fair. You are out of. Since that, the group is no more called G8. It's called G7. So if anyone who can look it up on Google, what's a G7 stands for? This is the part of 7 countries who are in a same group. And after that, Russia was like, okay, that's what you guys want to do. Let's do it. We don't care. We don't want to be in that group anymore. And they start doing their own politics. They start getting all other players around them, start helping them with military and all those stuff. And that's where the things start heating up. And eventually there's a saying called last nail in the coffin was in 2017, where 2 more members joined the NATO. So that was like,
Who?
I don't remember. Those were 2 European countries who are again almost near sharing the border with Russia, and they joined the NATO. We reminding back that Russia is already not happy of adding so many countries. They have a saying. Let me see. I wrote it down. So yeah, here, NATO. According to Russia, NATO is a defense alliance. Plus, it's an expandist power. They always want to expand their power. And Russia is like, no, you guys cannot do that.
That's a threat to them, you know?
Yeah, and that's where I think ever since 2017 and this whole time, I think since 2000 till 2022, there is the same guy sitting as the president of Russia, and it's Putin. He's sitting right on the chair. He has seen from A to Z everything. So it's pretty interesting that how this whole scenario happens, and finally Russia reacted on 24th February of this year while getting in the Ukraine. So this was kind of like a brief history, how step by step Russia was against the most of the decisions, but they were like pretty much sitting quiet. They were like, okay, we don't want war, we don't want any conflict, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But this was very brief. I can talk more about this. There is so much into this, but this was just an overview, you know. And finally, February of this year, Russia was like, and we gonna do that. And even they did not do that overnight. I do remember it was November last year, since American media and military was giving the updates to the world that Russia is doing something on the border of Ukraine. They were, you want to take a guess how many military they were putting on the border? Take a guess, it's in thousands.
Thousands?
Yes.
I don't know, 5,000, 10,000?
I mean, if you believe the reports, it was 85,000 military waiting on the border to get a green signal from Putin to get inside the Ukraine.
Ceasefire? No, not ceasefire. I mean,
Yeah.
so this was what, November?
It was November, so they were saying that something is happening on the border, and Russia was always been asked, "What's your motive? Why you guys have 85,000 military on the border?" And they were like, "Well, it's just a drill. It's just a military drill. We don't gonna do anything." And they were like, "We just want a confirmation from Ukraine. We never gonna join the NATO." And that's where the NATO countries were like, "Who are you to tell us that we should take Ukraine in or no?" And Ukraine was pretty attractive. They were like, "No, we know you're not gonna tell us what to do. We have our own country." But everyone was taking for easygoing. He's not gonna do anything. He's just putting the military, the pressure on the Western countries. Hey, don't do anything. Don't do anything. So I believe he has three requirements put in. One, give us in return. You're not gonna join the NATO. Ukraine's not gonna join the NATO. Two, they're not gonna join NATO in the future. Not temporary, in the future. And third was, I'm forgetting third, that was very interesting too. And I think none of them were, Ukraine was like, "Nope, we're not doing anything what you say to us."
That was the deal that Putin had for Ukraine.
Yeah, and they were like, "Just give us in a return. Or I mean, just have a meeting. Just tell us you're not gonna join NATO. Military is back. Everything calm down." They were like, "No, you're not gonna tell us what to do." So he gave, I'm pretty sure, a couple of threats to the world, and especially Ukraine. Don't force me to do anything. Just because at this whole time, NATO was too much dancing around to get Ukraine in, because NATO was thought he's not gonna do anything. Russia, it's just a bluffer, bluff. He's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
He waited there, I believe, for a month, his military. And you have to know that the weather over there is snow when the military was standing. It's like
it's winter time.
It's a winter time. Yeah. And it's crazy cold over there. And they had the military ready, 80,000. So I was on the same side, like everyone, nothing gonna happen. It's just a trap. And boom, I think on 24th, if I'm not wrong, 24th of February, I still remember I was on my university campus. I just got off. I have the notification on for the news.
When it happened?
Yeah, and I got the notification from one of the app I follow. It says that President Putin announced on the TV to do a military operations in Ukraine. And I was like, game starts here, I'm like, okay, it's now happening now. I did not expect it's gonna be. And same, I think I read so many articles. US has no idea that he's gonna do this early. They were expecting 6 months of time. Same with European Unions. They were like, nothing gonna happen, everything gonna be as it is. But he did it. So this is how the brief history is behind the whole the situation on before 24th February 2022.
Okay, I have a quick question. All this happened. What is the how can I put it? I think I put it down. What's the narrative in India as far as Putin attacking Ukraine? What's the narrative? What are they saying? What's his name?
General idea.
Yeah, what's the general idea?
I know it's pretty interesting because I do follow all these things, but mostly in reference to India, how they're gonna affect it. So let me say, it's general narrative when this whole started. I believe most of them were in favor of Russia. they were supporting Russia's actions.
Because they have a deal, right?
Yeah, and they have a long history. India and Russia, to the whole world who follow politics know they are the best friends. Every time India has been in trouble, Russia was the first to come up and help the country. So they cannot just
It's a no-brainer.
yeah, there was no point that India's gonna overnight change its stance
Yeah.
by overlooking all the history and start supporting the NATO countries.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you a very interesting incident I've read somewhere. I always read, but I don't remember the reference. But somewhere around 1985, Pakistan and India, everyone knows, share the border. Pakistan, with the help of America, was able to Pakistan convinced America that India is doing against something Pakistan. We need your help. So America did verify their stuff. At that time, India and America were not good in relationship. And America sent their warship against India, approaching India, and that was a big thing. At that time, India did not have a good military. And America was upset with India. You guys can't do that. And Pakistan was like, yeah, we need help. Come and go against India. So Pakistan was getting what they wanted.
Yeah.
At that time, I do know India did an SOS call to Russia. Hey, we need your help before US gets in here. They're gonna pretty much destroy some of the port city and ports area because they are coming with one of the biggest warship. America was approaching the Indian territory, and that's where I know Russia sent a nuclear submarine and I think warship to India to help India. And I think not one, they sent 3 to stand right in front of Indian border and to make sure America does not enter India. And they, as per the article I've read, they were literally in straight front, face to face in terms of their warship. They have the things open and they were ready to, whoever fires first, the other one's gonna fire. And this is for Pakistan and India. So this is how Russia has supported India all the time. And it's really interesting to see that they have a really interesting friendship. And Indians were like, okay, killing of people in Ukraine or any part of the world is wrong. There is no if and there is no but. But whatever Russia has done in the past to India, they cannot just overlook and start supporting NATO. So India was in a till today is in a very, very
Sticky.
position. They cannot support and they can't go against. And I believe Indian leadership has definitely got a best solution. The way they approach, the way they handle the situation is just amazing. Like right now, Russia is happy with India and US is happy with India. And what else you want? Both the superpowers are happy with India about their stance. So it's pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you, before I asked you the question, you were talking to something about, damn, I already forgot.
I think you were talking about that what happened after 24th of this year, like how this world has been between 24th of February till 30th of June. Today's June, okay?
So let's
July.
talk about how it started. Let's talk about how it is now. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was after this whole thing happened, there was, of course, all the countries are upset that you guys cannot do this. You guys just pretty much attack one of those small countries, which Russia says we did not attack. It's just military operations. And they came up with lots of economic sanctions on Russia. And they were like crazy economic sanctions is going on right now till today. They are throwing Russia out of the all alliance and all the groups. And it's now, I think, if I'm not wrong, right now it's considered that Russia is the most sanctioned countries in the world because they has most sanctions. Till before Russia, it was Iraq and North Korea, who has the most sanctions on them from all of the countries. But I think now it's been surpassed by Russia. It's really they have so many economic sanctions on Russia,
Yeah.
which I can believe Russia's economy is like, I will definitely think it's just going to the rock bottom. It's so
As
low.
of right now.
And that's what I would think. Not as of night right now. That was my first initial thoughts when these
Yeah.
things happen. But
Me too.
yeah,
Me too, yeah.
and what we are saying is that inflation in the U.S. is 40-year high. Like we live in
yeah.
California, we know the milk, the food, and gas, everything is just crazy up after this whole situation. Then European Union is considered is struggling the most in this war. They're saying that. They have that 8.9% inflation rate, which they have never seen. They are, I think, around always way lesser than 8.9. So it's pretty interesting to see the European Union is struggling the most. And the reason is very, very obvious that Russia pretty much supplies 40 or 45 or maybe more than half, 55% of gas to European Union. And it's been said that European Union is dependent on Russia. If Russia decide to turn off the knob for the gas, they're not gonna lose the economy, Europe, but they're also gonna lose the human beings, because we have to see that Europe is very cold country, so they always need that gas to keep the heater and everything on, and everything is provided by Russia.
Yeah.
So Europe is pretty much heated so hard after this thing, and on top of that, US is giving more military aid to Ukraine. I think $980 million or something like that.
Well, you remember what Zelensky said? It was a famous quote. He was saying, "I don't need a way. I don't need a trip. I don't need a what did he say exactly?
Yeah.
I can't remember what exactly he said, but he says, "I don't need a way out. I need
Yeah.
more guns, more ammunition,
More military
more
power.
military."
Yeah.
So that was kind of a cool thing that he said.
Yeah, and Zelensky is an important player in this whole situation too. Like he is trying to stick over there, but I believe at certain point he has to analyze the situation and need to make up a call. And very interesting to thanks for bringing that up right after the war, 2 months and a half, and he saw that not Russia is winning, not Ukraine is winning, people are dying. He decided to talk to Putin that I'm not going to join the NATO. Get your military back. I'm not going to join NATO even in the future. Get your military back. But knowing Putin's personality, what I read and I have seen, he's not going to step back. It's been now do or die situation.
Well, there was just an article that passed. I'm trying to look for it right now. Let me see. So I guess Putin ordered a ceasefire.
Yeah, but I think that was for the humanitarian help.
Let me read this article to
Yeah.
you. Okay, so Zelensky says there's no point in negotiating with Russia until it gets smashed in the face
Right.
and all Ukrainian territories are liberated.
Right.
Zelensky told Wall Street Journal that Ukraine can't agree to a ceasefire until it takes its territories back from Russia. A ceasefire means a pause that gives the Russian Federation a break for rest.
Right.
This article was on the 22nd of this month,
Oh, interesting.
July 22nd.
Oh, interesting.
He said Russia would resume its offensive later on after regaining strength.
Okay.
So basically, Zelensky's, I believe he's more on the attack side now.
Situation. Yeah.
He wants to attack them right now that they're weak
Right.
and on ceasefire. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough, man.
It's tough. I totally believe, and it's everything is changing so much that I can't believe. Like sometimes if you don't read news for a couple of days, you think like, oh, okay, what happened in 2 days? Like, did I miss like an year of news, or like what happened? So many things. It's such a dynamic situation that it's just keep changing. I would say every hour, every day. Yeah. You never know which country makes what statement and how does Russia or Ukraine gonna react to that. So yeah, and going back about that situation after that, like we all know that the whole economy has been tremble around the world. All countries are suffering an inflation, and expected recession is coming up in the world. And I think there is a saying called, if US sneeze, whole world catches cold. So what does that mean is that US economy is such a important economy in the world that if something small thing happens in US, the whole world will be in the recession.
Right.
And right now the Fed, as we know, are trying to handle all the situations so diligently. They want to make sure that they don't make any decision which can affect not only American economy but the world economy. So there is so much going around in the world after this whole situation. I mean, say not everything is been blame on the war. It's just keep building up. COVID has a big play to come up to this level, and it's pretty interesting to see.
Well, according to experts, from past history, as far as recession goes, after the 2 quarters of the economy just continuing to go down,
GDP,
right? After 2 quarters, that indicates a recession.
recession. Yes, true. I've read that
So
too.
as of now, we are, I believe it's the beginning of this month was the start of the third quarter,
Yep,
which indicates we are in a recession.
recession. That's true.
So I just wanted to point that out. I believe we are in some sort of market correction.
Right.
I don't believe it's a recession how people think.
Right.
Where like, oh, all the market's gonna crash or whatever. I
Yeah.
believe it's gonna be more of a correction.
Correction.
More of a you won't see, like, let's say, like for real estate markets.
Right.
You won't see a $700,000 home drop down to, let's say, 500.
Right.
And it's nothing like that. I believe, right?
Right.
It's more of a correction. Like the market will adjust.
Adjust for
That's-
a long term run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
do
what I
agree. That's what I've been reading too. And I was just watching a video yesterday where one of the financial expert was saying that every recession has a different reason how it started, and same thing over here. I think, long story short, so much of stimulus money has been pumped into the US economy in last 2-3 years, which we know we all got stimulus check depending on the situation. And they say like there's so much of money has been pushed into the economy that right now government wants people to spend. So people are not spending, but at the same time some people, it's just like confused situation. People are not spending, so they are pushing all that. They are trying to see that the interest rate goes up, so people try to spend more, but then later on they came up to the point that they were like, oh, now we don't want people to spend now because the inflation is going up, so now they want people not to spend. And there is so much of complexity going around right now. And I mean, I think the Fed chairman, his name is Mr. Powell, he's pretty, I can feel that guy. He will be so much stressed because he's sitting on one of the world's biggest federal institute. He's a chairman, so whatever he makes decisions, the whole world has effect from that. So yeah, it's very interesting, the inflation and recession and all those things. But yeah, going back over there, like right now, because of this whole war, inflation, all those, $1 is equivalent to €1, which has never happened in last 25 years. So Europe is going through lots and lots of things. And on top of that, going back, which I think you asked me a few minutes back, that how does Russia is playing economically in this? And to my surprise, Russia is doing exceptionally good work in this economy, because there is very interesting fact I came to know recently that so, like world trade is done in US dollars, and all countries decided to kick Russia out from all those online transactions. So what Russia did to Europe is that if you guys want gas, we don't want it in US dollars. We want it in rubles. Ruble is the Russian currency. So they were like, oh yeah, we need gas. We cannot survive without gas. People are going to die. And they were like, okay, buy and sell in rubles. because you guys kicked me out of the whole international transaction system. They were like, okay. So from nowhere, today the best performing currency in the world is ruble. And all of the currency, US dollars, euro, Indian rupee, Japanese yen, everything is down. They all are struggling with the economy. And I've seen so many reports that Russia is selling the gas to Europe at 50% more. They are they are charging them crazy high.
Is that really?
Yeah, they
Because I seen an article where they were selling oil and gas to China and India, at a really low price.
no, I mean just Europe. They're
Okay.
charging high because Europe is a part of NATO.
Right.
So he's retaliating on Europe. Okay, you guys want gas? Pay me more. You guys don't want to pay me more? I'm gonna turn off the knob. You guys can have on your own. And Saudi Arabia, America, Canada, and Venezuela, all these other gas rich countries, crude oil countries, cannot help European because of they are really far and they don't have such arrangement to send those gas over there. But it's interesting to see they are performing really good. Russia is enjoying right now. All big companies like McDonald's, Nike, Adidas, Puma, they all closed their outlets, everything, and everyone were expecting Russia gonna be to their toes, to their feet. They're gonna have nothing again, and that did not happen. Russia is now making more money. And going back to the China and India, I think since China is a backdoor supporter of Russia right now, it's been said that China is also providing military equipments right now to Russia to help them in the war. And India and Russia are already the best friends. So India decided to take the gas from Russia, which is, I mean, 0.9% of the requirement. That's not even 1% what India, and most of them gas are going into the reserve. So they are not even using that for day-to-day activity, just putting in the reserve. But at the same time, whole world, including Europe and America, are upset with India that you guys are buying from Russia, you guys giving them the money, and they're putting that money in the war against the Ukraine. But it's very interesting to know that Europe is paying them time and a half. So I believe Europe is also as equal, or I will say more contributor to Russia's economy. But well, they just want to blame the weak players, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have about a few more minutes.
Right.
Is there anything important that you want to touch on? As
No,
far as what you want the audience to know about?
No, it's pretty interesting. Like I already, the one thing I've seen and I've learned from this whole situation is that now after the whole thing happened, I believe it's not going to be a bipolar countries, meaning it's not going to be just Russia and USA, just two superpowers. It's already a multipolar country power. That means that in Asia we have India, of course, as a superpower, and China. Japan is trying to be there. Japan, Europe, all other countries. US has its own. On the other side, Russia has its own. So it's not going to be anymore the same dynamic situation which we saw 6 months back, where one country dictate the whole world order. It's not going to work like that. And I will say right now, India has been considered, I believe it came up as a winner of this whole situation. All the big European countries, government officials, including America, are visiting India after this whole situation. They all want to help. And you know why? Because they all want to counter India against China. Because everyone knows Russia is pretty weak now. And China is pretty much gaining all the power. So because India shares border with China, so everyone is throwing all the resources in India, money-wise and everything. And the Indian leadership, the Indian Prime Minister, I'm a big fan of that guy. He is just he's just ruling the whole situation. He's not against India, not against Russia, not against US. But at the same time, Putin calls him, Narendra Modi is the prime minister, and President Biden calls him. And they all want to just say that, oh, okay, We are with you.
So
Do
they-
whatever you want to do.
So they all want business with the guy.
Yeah, they all want, and the way he's dealing is exceptionally good. He has a good team of foreign minister and all those people who go out and who just stays on the attack mode. They are not. India is not anymore into defensive. There was a time back where India used to sit on a table, listen, and walk out. But now it's the other way around. Now India speak and walk out. All of the country has to listen. So that leadership has changed. Change in leadership has brought a significant change in the world politics. Like that guy is Narendra Modi. He's considered as a second strongest politician in the world right now. I think after Putin or after some other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So final thoughts.
Yeah.
What do we think? What is the future? Briefly about how this is going to end. What do you think?
I think we're never gonna know the real picture because I think nowadays it's very hard to say what's the fake news and what's not the fake news. But I believe Russia gonna finish the war in their favor.
You think Russia's gonna finish the war in their favor?
In their favor, and that's not gonna be good for Russia because they're already suffering with their economy. And after that thing, if they go back in their country and try to fix the economy, long time.
So how do you think they're gonna finish a war? Is it nuclear threat? Is it I mean, you tell me. What do you think?
I mean, I don't think.
How would they play this? What's
I
the
mean, they
plan?
are kind of stuck in a situation right now where they can't go back and they can't finish the war. So I believe they're gonna finish the war according to them. Okay, we finished the war, but no one knows the truth, you know?
I see what you mean.
We finished the war, we won, we did this, we did that, and NATO's gonna be like, that never happened. So we never gonna know the truth. But that's what's gonna happen. Eventually, he has to pull his military back because there are thousands of military inside Ukraine, and you don't want them to be there for a long period of time. So, yeah, eventually. But I'm trying to see the other perspective that India is rising up in this whole situation. Like,
That's a good quality because you know what? Most people, I'll tell you what, most people only have one side of their story. They're not interested in what these people what the opposite side of it saying.
Right.
And that's a good quality to have. You're open to other people's ideas.
Right.
That are not really that don't really agree with your opinion, your thoughts, your ideas. So that's a good quality that the audience should think about.
Yeah.
In any situation, doesn't necessarily need to be politics. Doesn't need to be war. Just to have that quality, to understand and be open to other people's thoughts.
Exactly.
And ideas. I believe that's a good quality to have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do believe that. Like, everyone has the right to give their opinion, and I believe no one can question their opinion because that's their opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, if
free speech,
Yeah, if you disagree, okay, let's disagree, but you have to respect whatever the person says, But yeah, I can talk about this for the whole day, That's what I love about. We are running out of the time, and we don't want to make it too long and too much of information,
Yeah, because you know what? Too much information kind of overwhelms people.
Exactly, definitely.
But definitely we're going to have a part 2.
Oh,
and,
yes.
We're going to keep this going for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
See what happens. We'll see. Maybe,
we have some concrete result by then.
Yeah.
Or maybe some third superpower country is already in the game then. You never know. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, this was Undergo Jayskode. We had Mr. Harshit Shah. Again, thank you, Harshit.
I appreciate you. It was a long deal ever since you mentioned me about this. I was excited to come and talk about this because not everyone loves politics, but it's very interesting to know about this.
Yeah,
I appreciate.
Yeah, no. Thank you for taking the time out of your day.
No worries.
We'll be talking really soon to schedule the next one.
Sure.
So, all right, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.